Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Piorlo. State police investigating what they describe as a suspicious house fire in Thompson.
And moments ago, we learned someone was found dead inside that house. Their identity has not been publicly released.
A man was also found burned in the woods at 200 feet from that home. Police telling us he is one of the owners.
Fox 61's Matt Karen has the latest.
Just very surprised to hear about it and that it happened just right down the road from here.
Connecticut's quiet corner on this day, not so quiet.
It's quiet. Yeah. So when things break that quiet down, it gets kind of weird.
Reports of explosions on Aquatic Town Farm Road. The result, a home and detached garage burned to the ground. Fox 61 on scene to capture the aftermath. Only the steps and chimney remain.
I'd seen the trucks and then I could smell some smoke, like burning stuff. So I was like, well, I thought maybe, somebody went off the road, or because I never would have thought that a house was on fire.
Fox 61 capturing video of a man being wheeled away on a stretcher. State police later confirming one man was critically injured, found in the woods about 200 feet from the home, badly burned.
I don't start any conspiracy theories, but I mean, when the two buildings are sort of like completely leveled in such a short time, and there was like that gap between them.
Hope that everybody's okay, and, I also hope that this wasn't a planned thing.
The state police fire and explosives unit took over the investigation. They brought in the major crime squad and closed the road. It will remain closed into Friday.
Yeah, direction that we travel every day to go to and from the stores.
These Google Earth images show what the nicely manicured home looked like before the blaze. Neighbors tell us an older couple lived there.
The house was very nice, well kept. They had a nice barn, had like a rec room above it with a deck that came out. My wife and I walked by there quite often, and they were outside, pulling weeds, cleaning up the yard, that sort of stuff.
And that man who was found badly burned in the woods had to be flown to the hospital. The Life Flight helicopter landed here at nearby Aquatic State Park. This is also where the fire engines needed to truck their water in and out from in their tankers because there are simply no fire hydrants in this area. Reporting in Thompson, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Matt, thank you. Ansonia police investigating an apparent murder-suicide tonight. They say it happened on a home on Westfield Avenue.
Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc has an update from detectives and what neighbors say they heard in the early morning hours.
Ansonia police say a woman and her 3 children were living inside the Westfield Ave home, now blocked by a state police major crimes van. That's where, around 5 o'clock this morning, detectives believe the woman's ex-husband forced his way into the home. Investigators say the man then confronted the woman, shooting her multiple times in the torso before turning the gun on himself. Officers found 47-year-old Yanis Taveras, who they say was living in Bridgeport, dead on the scene. The woman, 45-year-old Miguelina Lebron, was rushed to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Police say the couple was divorced and had 3 kids together, all teenagers. 2 of them were home at the time of the incident and were not injured, but did make the first call to police. While officers say they haven't had any interactions with the man and woman before this incident, they're digging into what may have led up to this. Police now sending a strong message to victims of domestic violence.
It's back to, if you see something, say something. If you hear an argument, if you hear a disturbance, call the police department. We'd rather go there and find out it's an argument over something nonsense rather than have it be something serious.
We spoke with several neighbors, one woman whose backyard touches the back of the home where this all happened, and many of them telling us they heard glass breaking in the middle of the night and what they believe were gunshots right after.
I heard one pop, and then I heard pop, pop. And I said, that sounds like a gun. And then I heard another. It was about 6 shots total, I think. And then I waited. I didn't hear nothing. Shortly after, I heard the cop cars and all the commotion, and I was like, something bad happened.
It's a quiet neighborhood, and something like this happened, and we never, thought it would be right here happening. We never had any murders or anything in this area.
Now, police reiterating this was an isolated incident with no threat to the public at this time. In the meantime, if you or anybody you know is experiencing domestic violence, we have resources available for you across the state 24/7, 7 days a week. That is posted on fox61.com. We are in Ansonia. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Julia, thank you. We now know the name of the victim killed in a possible burglary, shooting, and crash in New Britain. Police say they received calls about a possible burglary and an accident on Kelsey Street around 9 this morning. New Britain police believe after the crash there was a fight and shots were fired. Dante Sprouse was found with gunshot wounds and taken to a hospital where he died. We are still waiting to find out more about the possible burglary. Milford and state police responded to a report of a suspicious device this morning. It happened on New Haven Avenue with reports of the device being found behind a house. A bomb squad arrived on scene to safely remove that device. The area was closed for some time as crews investigated. And Groton police are investigating a crash involving a school bus and a Volvo. It happened this morning at the intersection of Route 1 and Flanders Road. Police say the bus with 34 students on board hit the Volvo from behind. The bus then veered off the road and hit a utility pole. According to police, one student was taken to a hospital, but they are expected to be okay. The driver of the bus received a citation.
A teenager is facing charges in connection to a threat toward a school in Waterbury. Police say a 15-year-old student at Crosby High School made a social media post yesterday referencing a shooting threat toward the school. The threat was determined to be non-credible and the teen was arrested. Waterbury police say they are continuing to increase patrols around all the schools in the city.
And in West Haven, there was also an arrest in connection to a school threat. Police say a school resource officer was able to help police determine a suspect after the Savin Rock School received a threat yesterday. The suspect admitted to making the threat and was charged with false reporting and breach of peace.
Let's get a check on the forecast right now. We are continuing the nice weather streak here.
Meteorologist Sam Samperia standing by with more on this. Sam's looking good.
Yes, Bridget and Brent, absolutely gorgeous time of the year. Hey, I've gotten taller all of a sudden. 76 Hartford, New Haven coming in at 76 degrees. You see 72 Torrington, 80 Windsor Lock, 73 Chester, 69 Groton and London. Absolutely gorgeous. We have the comfortable dew points. It's a time of year that even though it'll be summer feel the next few days into the weekend, you still get kind of comfortable overnight, although it will be a bit more humid as we head towards the second half of the week. A little weak front up to our north won't bother us. The sleeping forecast is fine. Just open the windows overnight. We are going to have temperatures averaging in the 50s. Again, it's going to be absolutely comfortable, and we'll keep it going too. Now, the only thing about overnight, I have a few clouds. If that's all I have to talk about, I'll take it. Wake up tomorrow morning, maybe a few clouds. Otherwise, overnight, again, temperatures down into the 50s. And for tomorrow, why don't we go for a swim? Let's keep the pool open, and temperatures will be in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Coming up, I will detail what you can expect throughout the weekend. I'll have your fair forecast. We'll look ahead into next week. Are there any changes in the pattern? And I'll also update you on the tropics. Details coming up in a few minutes. Bridget and Brent.
All right, Sam, thank you. A motorcyclist faces charges tonight for allegedly eluding officers in East Hartford. Police say an officer attempted to pull over Dalton Viega on I-84 Tuesday for speeding, but instead he accelerated. The officer was able to arrest Viega at his home a short time later, thanks to the address on his motorcycle's registration. Viega was released on $10,000 bond.
Police say a teenager in Westport died while riding a dirt bike. The crash happening yesterday afternoon on Old Hill Road when the bike collided with a loaded dump truck. It's the latest in a string of deadly accidents involving dirt bikes on Connecticut roads. The police chief in Wolcott, Ed Stevens, says enforcement has become a real challenge when it comes to illegal dirt bikes that don't have safety features like mirrors, turn signals, or even license plates. State policy prevents police pursuits over traffic violations, and Stevens says many of the people riding these unregistered bikes are often unlicensed teens.
The police basically have to sit there and watch them go by, and not a lot we can do. And unfortunately, a lot of these dirt bike riders know this, and they'll taunt the police like they have in other towns. They do create a hazard because the people that drive them, a lot of them you'll find are, youths, kids that are not, have licenses or anything, and they just jump out on the roadway and drive. not knowing the laws of the road, not knowing you shouldn't cut in front of a car or, turning too quick.
If you're caught riding an illegal dirt bike, you could face a hefty fine of $1,000 for the first offense and up to $2,000 for multiple violations. Cops will also take the bike away, and you'll then have to prove ownership to get it back.
A Groton man was arrested in connection to a stabbing in New London. Police say Richard Nieves stabbed a man yesterday underneath the Gold Star Bridge. Nieves was found at his home, where police say he confessed to the stabbing, saying it started as an argument over personal property. The victim is expected to be okay. Nieves is being held on $50,000 bond.
2 men facing charges in connection to an armed robbery at a Newington liquor store. Police say Devin Kempson-Vook and Stevelin Snowden stole money and alcohol from the country package store last month. The pair reportedly also pointed a gun at the cashier. Both are due in court later this month. We'll be following it.